Hello, this is Colin Thompson, and welcome to our next video in our COVID Coaches series. So I have a very interesting topic tonight. We talked a lot about how to not just make it through the homestay portion of the coronavirus lockdown in your area, but how to thrive through it. So today we're going to talk about how to really be what I call productive doing your work, how to keep your children motivated and learning during this time, and also how to maintain a positive mindset. We've talked previously in detail about the importance of maintaining a positive mindset, but tonight I want to give a few more tips. But first, let me give some background. Right now, I'm, as most of you know, I am in Shanghai, China. We're about to start our 10th week of living in some sort of restrictions based on the coronavirus outbreak. Now, I will say that week 1 through 7 were very different from weeks 7 through 10. A lot of the restrictions have been removed and we're almost back to normal. Everybody still wears masks when they go outside. Not all places are back open, and there are some limitations as to where people can go. But there are no more temperature checks. There's no more restrictions as to how many people can be in a restaurant. You can go to a mall and all the shops in the mall are open. One of my favorite things, all the parks are open, which means I can now take my son and go back out to the park. And it's very interesting. Previously, if you go to a park on, let's say, a Tuesday at 4 p.m., there were a few people there. Now the parks are packed with people. And I think that's a direct effect of people being locked up for a long time period and really now enjoying the outdoors. So going back, the first few weeks, I would say the first 4 or 5 weeks were very difficult to adjust to. If you can imagine, and I know a lot of you now are going through probably your 3rd to 4th week on lockdown. And well, let me slow down. Not on lockdown, on recommended homestay. We say lockdown here meaning you can't leave. And lockdown here means mandatory quarantine. So I know you guys are not on mandatory quarantine, but it is recommended that you stay home. And in some cities, you will face fines if you leave. So let's call it a homestay. So when we were in our 3rd to 4th week, we were still having trouble adjusting. The main reason being, we still didn't know much about the coronavirus. We knew it was out there. We knew people were sick. We knew people were dying, but we didn't know, for example, the exact ways to catch it, the exact ways what could you do to prevent yourself from catching it. We knew, though, if you stay inside, you have much better chances of not catching it. But I did have to go outside. I had to go outside to get food. I had to go outside to pick up deliveries. And when I went outside, every time you go out the front gate, you come back in, you must show a card. You must have your temperature checked. And after a while, it really got stressful, knowing that you're being monitored, knowing that you're not able to walk around freely. And again, you go to the shopping malls, you go anywhere, you have to have your temperature checked. And in some places, you have to write down your information, such as your phone number, your ID number. Really, because if somebody else has been found to be infected, they must notify your residential area, and then you put on lockdown. So it was very, very stressful. What we found, though, between weeks 4 and 6, we started to, I say, get more relaxed, but I think we started to get used to living in these circumstances. So one message is, if you're still struggling, or if you've gotten used to the routine of where you are, congratulations. But if you're still struggling, just know that in a few weeks, you will get more used to it. That is a positive thing in most cases. I don't want you to get used to the number of people who are dying each day. Don't get used to that. But get used to the fact that there's something that is taking place, but you are remaining safe. So get used to that. In our case, speaking with some of our neighbors, I think we just really realized that there's not much that we can do about the situation. We started watching less of the news, and we started trying to live our lives as if we were able to have functional lives outside of the virus. And that meant really, in some cases, focusing on our work more, focusing on the time we have as family. Because one thing about this virus time, the extended homestay, it does literally bring you closer to your family. In terms of work, this is a challenge here, because also after about 4 or 5 weeks, the first 2 weeks of working from home, very, very, very productive. Almost as if it was being at work. In some cases, we were working more at home than we were doing at work. However, after a while, the work sort of slowed down. A lot of projects that were due were extended or halted, and a lot of people found that there's just not much work to do. Well, you know what? This is a good time to take some online education, online lessons. A lot of companies offer free training in some areas. So you can still be productive even if you're not working on your actual 9 to 5 job. So I'm going to share with you some tips. First on how to be productive and getting work done. And yes, you will see me looking down at my notes. I'm a life coach. I am not an actor, so I have not memorized my lines. Please bear with me. So I'm going to read to you guys some tips from an article that I wrote a few weeks ago titled Thriving Through COVID-19 During the Stay-at-Home Restrictions. And I believe you'll see the link if you're interested in the article here. So the first thing, and I reached out to some of my friends and got some of their insights because I want to make sure I'm not just giving you based on my experience, but based on individuals, clients, and other coaches based on their experience as well. I like this first one. Remind yourself on a daily basis that you are working from home and not on a home vacation. And it's very, very different. If you're working from home, you're still looking to meet deadlines. If you're working from home, you're still trying to improve your skill sets. You still have structure. If you're on a home vacation and working, you're doing just enough work to get by, meaning you're trying to look busy. Maybe you're working while you're watching TV. Maybe you're working in the middle of breaks. Maybe you're not really focused on working, but you're online. Maybe you're using an online tool that tracks if you're actually logged on, but you're not really working. So it's very important to have the mentality that regardless of the fact that you don't know how long you'll be working from home, you are working from home and not on a home vacation. Very important to make that difference. Also, I recommend waking up at your usual work time and changing your clothes. The first few weeks I was here, after 3 weeks, my wife had to ask me very politely to change my clothes, or at least change my clothes during the day. Because I'll tell you, what I woke up in was what I did everything in, including going back to sleep. So you want to make sure that you're changing your clothes, because when you change your clothes, sometimes you feel how you look. And if you're really just wearing pajamas, wearing sweatpants, you may not have that energy that you need to really, again, be productive, think out the box, think, even if I don't have a lot of work to do, how can I still learn something? And I'll tell you one thing I learned. And guys, I learned a lot during this time. I learned that sweatpants and pajamas have a way of dragging us back to bed for a nap, or even on the couch. But if I put on some slacks, put on a nice shirt, I would not go back to bed. So again, my recommendations, make sure, wake up at your usual time and change into some comfortable, casual work clothes. You don't have to put on a suit. You can put jeans on. You can even put some nice shorts on. But I think the top, anything that makes you feel like you are not feeling like you're on holiday or on vacation. Also, start and stop working at your regular times. If you wake up at 6 a.m. and you start working at 9, continue to wake up at 6 a.m. It's a perfect time to use your commute time to do some exercise. It's a perfect time to find a way to be productive in those few hours and then start working on time. Also, you want to make sure that you are stopping on time as well. There's no need to try to work extended hours that you would not do if you're actually going into the office. Now, one key thing, starting to work on time, ending on time. In between those two bookends, I recommend take frequent breaks. Take a break, walk around your house, walk around your apartment, do some stretching, use the bathroom, drink some water, take 10, 15 minutes to look at the TV. And the reason I say that is, if you think about a typical workday in the office, the typical employee really works solid for an hour without taking a break. And that could mean turning around, talking to a coworker. That could mean going to the restroom, going to the coffee machine. But we're constantly taking breaks to sort of refresh and come back and focus back in. It's the same thing when you're working from home during your home stay. Again, don't try to be a hero. take the same breaks and give your mind and your body the same sort of same breaks. What you find is your body established a pattern in your office, and if you follow that same pattern, you're more likely to resist the urge to take a longer break. You're more likely to resist the urge of watching a movie during your lunch break as opposed to taking a quick lunch break and getting back to work. Okay, now this is a very interesting one. We know that due to the work at home restrictions, a lot of you have not heard of this tool. I've been using this tool for years now. It's a tool called Zoom, Zoom, and Zoom is a web conferencing tool. So now you can work with your coworkers. You can see your coworkers for meetings, for working. And a lot of companies are using this and they just leave it on, right? As a way to monitor what employees are doing. Meaning, I am here with a camera, you're seeing me, and I'm seeing a small picture of everybody else as they're working also. Now, that is not the proper way to use it. Zoom is not a workforce monitoring tool. Zoom is a conferencing tool, an online web conferencing tool. So I hope you guys are using it as such. The benefit of using Zoom, though, it allows you to have those meetings somewhat face-to-face, virtually face-to-face. And remember, we're used to seeing our coworkers on almost a daily basis. So having the ability now to use a tool that allows us to see our coworkers, hear our coworkers, it does help us to forget about the noise and what's going on out here. It makes us believe that things are normal. And trust me, when you see your coworkers, you guys will spend a few minutes just sharing your stories on what's going on, but then you get right back to work, and that's very, very important. Now, a little tip, there's a thing right here on my, right there, it's called my camera. Make sure that you heed my warning and don't work in your pajamas or sweatshirt. Don't work in bed, because you might make a mistake and hit the camera button and they will see you laying down in bed with your laptop on your stomach. I've heard plenty of people who didn't know what that feature was or didn't know that the cameras are automatically turned on, and they got busted working in bed. But anyway, Zoom is a great tool. So, and there are other tools that you can use to continue working in a distance from your coworkers. Now, you did not hear this from me, okay? I did not say this. I'm going to say this. These tools are also a great way to get in contact and stay in contact and check up on your friends and family, okay? Zoom is a web conferencing tool. It's not just made for work. It's made for any two individuals that want to communicate and see each other. So you can get a free Zoom account, and it's a great way of checking in on your friends and family on a daily basis. And then finally, work in a nice, comfortable room. We know that your home now is not just your typical home. Your home is your office. Your home is your movie theater. Your home is your gym. Your home is your recreation area. A lot of different activities are taking place in your home. Now, you may be alone and you may have other people there. You still want to find a very comfortable room, a comfortable place that has a low amount of interruptions. And if you and your spouse both need to have this, or if anybody both need to have a space to work, you may want to make a schedule on who can have that quiet space or that area for how many hours per day. But you want to make sure that you have a space that's very comfortable, that's quiet. Just like you guys, I'm working, this is my bedroom. I'm working in my bedroom. It's very, very quiet here. You may earlier have heard my son crying, I'm not sure. But some are very, very, very comfortable, quiet, a few interruptions, and ergonomically comfortable. Meaning you want to have a chair that you can sit in that really protects your back, doesn't cause you back pain. Most offices have chairs that are contoured for your back, for your spine. Right now, I'm sitting on some pillows. You want to do everything you can to make sure that you're using the temporary space in good harmony with your body. My laptop is up on books right now, so I'm looking straight ahead as opposed to looking down. So, Google ergonomic, and you can find out what you can do at home. So these tips should help you to really maintain or be productive while you're at home. And again, the production is not just based on your 9-to-5 job. This is based on you as an individual. If you can find time now to improve a skill, learn a new skill, do that. There are so many different titles and skills being offered for free. It makes sense if you're home, go away from Netflix for a couple hours and do some online learning. Okay, be productive. The next area we want to speak on, as we mentioned, your home now doubles, and what you look at as a home, your child may look at as a playground. Your child may look at as school. You want to make sure that you're finding a way to keep your child engaged, active, learning, and make sure his time is occupied. One of the best things to do is talk to your child, and this could be a grown child to a young child. Develop weekly goals and tasks for your child to do. And it's also very important that you do have some sort of reward system. For example, if your child does study for 3 hours each day, at the end of the week, maybe he gets a Twinkie. Maybe he gets an hour of video games. I'm not sure what the reward is, but you want to make sure that you are rewarding your child. Also, when you look at what they're studying, allow them to pick one subject that's not school-based. Maybe a child has an interest in learning how to juggle. I don't know, but ask a child, what else do you want to learn? It could be art. It could be, I'm not sure what it could be, but give them opportunity to branch out and identify what they want to learn in addition to their school. Because I hope right now they're doing online learning for school. If not, it's time for them to be homeschooled for a few weeks. This next one is not necessarily tied to their education, but it is tied to their responsibility. Because right now, everybody has responsibility inside the house. If your child can walk, he has responsibility. So you want to also talk about the chores that they will be doing on a daily basis. And just like education, you want to make sure they have a reward system for that as well. If your child, if his responsibility is clearing the kitchen table after breakfast, after lunch, taking the dirty clothes from upstairs to downstairs, whatever that may be. And I hope that they do have some, because again, during this time, your child may be feeling a certain way, listening to too much news, getting information from their friends. They may be feeling a certain way. You want to make sure that they are distracted, and they also understand that while we're under this home extended home stay, we all have responsibilities. So give them some tasks and some chores. Now, we know a lot of children have moved to online. It's very important that while they are doing the online lessons, that you are sitting with them for two reasons. This may be a new platform they're using, and they may not know how to maneuver the platform, so you want to be able to help them. And hopefully you know how to do it, right? You can learn that very quickly. You also want to make sure that they are not daydreaming. It's very easy, if you have kids, you know this, it's very easy for a child to just, sorry, I got distracted, right? It's very easy for a child to get distracted. And finally, for a little bit older children, you want to make sure that they are not browsing and going anywhere online that they should not go, okay? So it's very important that you sit with your child for the duration of their online education lesson. Now, outside of their school learning, you also want to try to provide them with books, markers, pens, drawing materials, and let them really just brainstorm on what they want to do. Let them be bored. Don't always recommend things for them to do. Kids have a wonderful, not just kids, children have a wonderful imagination. Allow them time to be bored and watch how they innovate and think of things to do. And as we all know, you give a little kid a box, a cardboard box. That box is a fort, that box is a car, so many different things. So allow your child the time to be bored, and you'll be very impressed with what they're doing. Also, it's very important that you allow them time to get bored, and being bored, the answer to being bored does not mean they go pick up a cell phone, iPad. Help them avoid the screen. Again, a reward for them doing the chores, a reward for them doing their studying can be 1 hour of screen time, whatever screen they want. But it's very important that you monitor the amount of time they're spending in front of a screen. And then finally, you want to make sure that you're really spending time with your kids just in conversation. And we call this open time. During this coronavirus outbreak time, you're not really sure where your child is getting information from. If they have a phone, they can be getting information from a friend. If they're watching TV, you and your child may watch the same news program and digest the news very differently. So you want to make sure that you're having a conversation almost on a daily basis to see how they're feeling. If you have loved ones who are sick, or I hate to say who have passed away, you want to make sure your child understands what's taking place. You don't want them to go numb, meaning that they're taking so much in, they don't feel the pain anymore. If your child knows a relative is sick and they cry, that's a wonderful thing. If they're not crying, it may mean that they're internalizing something, and you want to make sure that you have a very safe environment for that child to open up, and that starts by finding time on a daily basis to speak with your child. Okay, I hope these tips help. We have one more area to talk about, and that is how you can maintain a positive and healthy mindset. And we've talked about this before. This is very, very important. And in this area, I'm speaking to you as an individual, not your family. And I say this because it starts with somebody in the house being a hero. That hero is the one who's setting that example. So if you look at you, you have the responsibility to make sure that your immune system remains high. You have the responsibility to make sure that you're eating the correct way, that you're exercising frequently. I guarantee you, if you are exercising, if you're eating correctly, then other people in your house are also doing that. You're eating together. Hopefully you're going to exercise together. So do everything you can, be that example, and make sure that your family is maintaining a high immune system. You want to make sure you're keeping it boosted because, again, we are staying indoors. We are not getting as much movement as we're usually getting. So our bodies are going to be responding different. The body's going to be a little weaker. So we want to make sure that in absence of the walking we usually do, we're still doing things inside the house. Again, we also want to make sure you block out ample time as a family just to have fun. This can be playing cards. Excuse me, my son just fell down. Anyway, this could be playing cards, playing board games, jigsaw puzzles. We bought I want to say 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. It took us a long time to do it, but it brought us closer because we had to just sit for hours and just figure things out. And when you're stuck and you find a piece, it's like a little party. So these things are things you and your family can do to really have time together. And again, I say on a daily basis. And again, you can also go watch a funny movie. And parents, this is the best time to introduce your child to one of your favorite classic funny movies. They may not laugh, right? But you're doing it and watching it together. Share a lot of encouragement with your family. When I say encouragement, I don't necessarily mean the family in your house. I hope you're doing that anyway. But pick up the phone. Call your brothers, your sisters, your daughters, your parents, whomever, and on a daily basis, find one person to call and encourage. We are getting a lot of negative news on a daily basis, whether it be about the virus, whether it be about the economy, whether it be about the government. We need somebody to step up and make sure we're getting showered with positive messages. Call somebody, call at least 3 people every day and say, hey, look, man, I love you. I'm worried about you. I know you're stronger than this. And bring up a funny moment and make sure you're lifting them up. Most phone calls that we're getting these days, I get phone calls every day about people who are sick, who are ill. And I got to tell you, it weighs on me. Thank goodness that each time I get a phone call, I turn around and call somebody else and give them some good news. So guys, you need to really think about how much power is in giving somebody, I would say, that positive message on a daily basis. And hopefully, if a lot of you do that, you're all getting multiple phone calls each day with a positive message. Okay, and the last part here on maintaining a positive and healthy mindset is to know deep down that this will pass. When you look back on this time, you want to have positive memories also. And these positive memories will only come from being positive right now. So think about where you want to go yourself and where you want to go with your family, and make sure you guys are finding opportunities to make the best of this, quite frankly, a terrible situation. And it can be done. It absolutely can be done, but you have to do it together as a family. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we are now at week 10, and we've my gosh, we've 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 been through the roller coaster. You guys are now in the roller coaster. You guys are going up and down, and it does stop. I don't know if you got, I don't know if in your cities, towns, and countries you've reached the peak yet, but you understand what a peak is. Once you reach the peak, things do come back down. So trust that things will get better. And you have two choices. You can go through this time and let it really negatively impact you, or you can go through this time in a positive manner and understand that things are not the best that they could be, but I'm still grateful for my health, for my family's health, for a roof over our heads. So there are things to be proud of. So guys, once again, Coach Colin Thompson, I really hope that these messages are helping you and your family. Again, today, we talk more about how to not just survive, but how to thrive during the coronavirus home restrictions. I look forward to sharing our next message with you in our next video. And no matter where you are, again, I hope that you guys are in the best of health, mental health and physical health. Okay, bye-bye.